Hi there. So today we're just going to go over some of the material from Chapter 9 as a review so you can really figure out how to do Punnet squares and why they're important and what they mean, and just so you have some good practice with them and you're confident to do them on your own, and then you'll be ready for the test. So here I'll just get my handy dandy pen and we'll go over some of the material from Chapter 9. So in class, we watched that video, right, and it talked about alleles, and we went over the definition of that word, and that is an alternative form of a gene. So you could have your trait being tall or short, that's your trait, you've got height, and our alleles are tall and short, big T, little t. So then we're going to go into our genotype, and our genotype is going to be the set of alleles, which would be these guys right here. And our phenotype is next. And our phenotype is going to be the physical trait that is expressed, that's seen. So that would be the height, if we were to continue with this example. Then we go into heterozygous. And heterozygous is going to be where you have two different alleles. Again, tall, short. Those are two different alleles. With homozygous, homo means the same. And so your two alleles will actually be like this or like this because they're the same. And you're probably like, oh man, I don't remember what this big T or this little t is. Or maybe you do remember. So then you can go, yeah, the big T is going to be dominant. So this one covers the other allele, which is your recessive. So this gets covered, it gets masked. So your big T and your little t. And when you have all this information up here, then you get to jump into the monohybrid cross. Sorry, of a mess, but for the definition of the monohybrid cross, that's where you have two individuals that are genetically heterozygous, so our big T, little t, and you'll cross them. Boom. So what does that look like in our Punnet square? Let's take a look, shall we? So if we draw out our Punnet square over here, that was awkward, I don't make squares like that. And if let's say we want to stick with that height example. This is going to be our trait, okay? So we have height here. We're going to list out what our genotype is. We'll just put geno and pheno. Do some abbreviating. Remember, we're crossing for the monohybrid two heterozygous individuals. So we're going to have big T, little t by big T, little t. Heterozygous by heterozygous. So we'll transfer those two down here into our square. And when we make our Punnet square, we're going to take our two dominant traits and we're going to put them into this square like that. And then we'll just keep moving through. We'll make a heterozygous individual here. And now for this square, our bottom left, we're going to take our big T and we're going to put it with our little t. And then to move into this square, we'll have our two little t's. So with our genotype, what do we have then? We have a big T and a big T. We have two dominants. Then we have heterozygous and a heterozygous, right? So we'll go like this. And then we have our recessive individual. So what does this look like here? We've got 1, 2, 2, and 1. So what does that mean? I'm sorry, we have 1 here, but that equals 2. That means we have a 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. 1 is 25%, 2 is going to be 50%, and this 1 is also 25%. So when you breed two heterozygous individuals, you have a 25% chance of having being a dominant offspring, homozygous dominant. You have a 50% chance of being a heterozygous individual, and then you have a 25% chance of being a homozygous recessive individual. Okay, so for our phenotypes, this should be pretty straightforward. You know, we've got either tall or short. But how many individuals are going to be tall? We've got this covers, we've got this big T, we've got this big T. So what does that mean? That means we have 3 tall individuals and 1 short individual. All right, so now if we do this again, but we ramp it up a bit, let's pretend that we're looking at the trait of height, but we're also going to look at eye color. So this one will be a little trickier because we will have a heterozygous individual for height and eye color. And we'll stick with the heterozygous individuals because now this will be called a dihybrid cross. And we'll put our geno here off to the side again and our pheno. And then we'll stick these individuals in here. And for this, you have to FOIL it. Okay, so we'll go big T with big B, FOIL. Just like in math, big T to the little b. We'll stick this here, and then we'll go little t to big B, and then little t to little b. Okay, and then we're just gonna copy this right down the line. We'll go like that. Okay, great. So now we've got our dominant, and recessive dominant, and oops, there we go. Well, what if those should be? Okay, so now when we run through this dihybrid Punnet square, it's just the same as doing a monohybrid cross. We'll put all of our, we'll put our T's together, and we'll put our B's together, just like this. We're getting kind of squishy. Okay, and then by the end of it here, we'll count it all up and we'll see what kind of individuals we have. And we'll do some more ratios. And this one, as you can see, takes a little bit longer. We've got a lot more going on here. But then by the end of it, we'll know how many individuals will be tall and have blue eyes, or tall and have brown eyes, etc. Okay, so now we know that our genotypes are going to be tall with brown eyes. You think you could be tall with blue? Of course, tall with blue. You could be short with brown. You could be short with blue. Oop. And then let's take a look at what we have here for our numbers for that. So here we have tall and brown. So that's 1. Here we have tall and brown. And here we have tall and brown. And oh my gosh, tall and brown. So what's that? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Here we have tall and brown. We have tall and brown right there. There's tall and brown. Here's tall and brown. Here's tall and brown. And here is tall and brown. Okay, did we get them all? So that brings us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oop, I don't think that's right. We should have 9. Tall, brown, 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 tall, brown. Ooh, here's where I goofed. Right there, boom. This should be tall and blue. Okay, so we have 9. Actually, you know what I should do? I should erase this. But, so we have 9 of these individuals. Then, for tall with blue, you can use blue, that'll be fun. We have 1, 2, and 3 individuals. Okay, what about short with brown eyes? We've got 1, 2, and 3. That should be 3. Oof, going a little quick today. So then we have 3 individuals, and then our recessive individual, that's homozygous recessive completely, would just be 1. So now our ratio for this is 9 to 3 to 3, 1. Okay, our phenotypes, right there. Boom, we got them. So that is how you do the dihybrid cross. We went through the monohybrid cross and all of our definitions. And we had been using all of these words, during that time. So hopefully this video is helpful. You know what to do now for your Punnet squares and you get those figured out. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Alrighty, until next time, class.